Welcome back. Well, yes, indeed, we'll continue in that stead, and we'll have joining us here today Mr. Dr. Adetokunbo Adedeji, who is of the professionals, is also a Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, in seeking a solution for this, what is this about for you?
Well, first, the juncture that we've reached now had a beginning, and we need to go back there and examine how these all started. Boko Haram as a name is a cynicism, and the cynicism is in the meaning of Boko Haram itself. The group who say they are protesting against Western education, they're being cynical about it because the preaching to them by the leaders then was that it is not right to have Western education. And their own children have had opportunities of going to some of the best institutions in the world to acquire Western education. So it is cynical for the people who are lined up behind Boko Haram.
Do we know who they are to know that the children
They all
have
have faces. They're human beings. It started from a group of people, and to the extent that the number has grown, whether by getting people to join the moving train or by inviting foreigners to join their midst, the number has grown and the activities have grown too. So there is need to go back and examine why they got started in the first instance. What is the form of their protestation? What is it exactly they're trying to say that they haven't said in words? It is only when we get to that point and we begin to look at the issues involved, then we'll be able to address those issues while trying to quell the activities of this group.
Can we still keep focus on what they're protesting about, or have their actions invalidated whatever they are protesting about? Because some will suggest that, look, those actions are criminal actions, terrorist actions, and they have to be treated on their merit, irrespective of whatever it is that they say they're asking for.
But I hate to say this. They say all is fair in love and war. We're at war. They are waging war against their society. That's the truth. And therefore, you need to find out why they're waging war against society. We haven't gotten anything to worry about yet in the South, but we have a lot to worry about. We have a lot to worry about.
Well, I think you just pointed out something that I think the nation woke up to realize, that it truly is not about a hit for Western education. It's just a deceptive move. But as a medical doctor, also a safety professional, this is the time for us to also look towards some other safety measures from the government and the people, especially looking at what's being making the news about the young girls that have been kidnapped, even though till now there's still issues concerning the numbers of those missing. When you say we should go back, when we do go back and in moving forward, safety-wise, what should we employ?
It's a failure of a security network in this country that we're seeing play out. Intelligence gathering has been the backbone of any successful security outfit, be it CIA, FBI, the M4, name it. They have a wide network of information gathering. I'll give you an example. Many years ago when I went to Egypt for the first time, from the airport to the place I was supposed to be staying, I realized someone was following me. and ditto for every foreigner that came into the country. It will happen for every person who has never been to Egypt before, who is getting there for the first time, and they would do that for upwards of 2, 3, 4 days, sometimes a week, and they give a feedback. That's what intelligence gathering is all about. A lot of what is going on here is a failure of the security network to have a database where they'll be able to monitor individuals, groups, and what have you. So you'll be able to predict what is likely to happen. Now, the failure of that has given room for the exploitation of those soft targets that we're seeing. They started with identifiable areas. They hit the communication network, the masts, those are identifiable. But now they're going to schools, they're going to motor parks, and soon they'll be going to shopping malls. Those are soft targets. So it is for the security network to begin to build a database where you'll be able to predict what is likely to happen in such a place like the Ikeja Mall, for instance, or Lekki Mall, for instance, and build a security network around there so that there is a preemptive approach to stalling whatever it is that some group may have as a plan to come and hit the place. Because, like I said, all is fair in love and war.
You know, some people will say that you've given an example of what has happened, or, you know, of your own experience in Egypt, but this one is a little different in the sense that, you know, we have border issues. I mean, these people that come in look very much like us. You stand out as a foreigner in Egypt. In Nigeria, it would be very difficult to differentiate, say, a Nigerian from, say, someone who lives in a neighboring community just right across the border. And the security agencies will say that some of these things, I mean, at formal entry points, they will definitely have security gathering, you know, infrastructure. Look at what happened with Farouk Abdulmutalab. You know, they were able to say precisely when he took off and, you know, provide information that was helpful in investigation. Would you say that from what you're saying that there is just a matter of, you know, closing certain other gaps that the security agencies somewhat have been on top of their game?
I would say they are trying because you cannot negate the actions that they have taken that has given them some success. But I would say they need to try more. They need to expand their horizon of activities such that you'll be able to bring a lot more group into the net. Whether you're black or white, whether you're Nigerian or you're Ivorian, as long as there's someone who is on your tab, there'll be information to report about you.
Now, one of the things they've also talked about is involving the public, ensuring that we are all a part of this fight, because you cannot have, you know, security agents for every Nigerian, and the numbers are still small compared with the population of the country. How would you rate our involvement as a public, you know, fighting terrorism?
We're very passive. There's no encouragement from government.
By encouragement, how do you mean?
Government needs to involve people. They need to carry out a campaign and educate people about being security conscious, taking it as a civic responsibility to report anything that is awry around you, to ensure that anybody who you suspect has been involved in some nefarious activities or shady deals, you give some information about such a person. That's the way to involve the public.
Well, as a safety personnel, for you, what would you say you'd be looking out for in terms of, you know, things going, or signs of things going awry or not, you know, very clear around you?
Okay. First, if you're living in a neighborhood, you're supposed to be familiar with the people who live around there. The moment you start seeing some new faces, some new vehicle, and you cannot identify as being part of your neighborhood, that's the beginning. Your consciousness to suspect what that might be is the beginning of you being security conscious. Now, for your own safety, if a vehicle is parked in front of your house and you don't know the owner of that vehicle, the first thing is find out who owns the vehicle. If you cannot, then make a report. You see, if you do that, if everybody begins to do that, you're creating a no-zone area for those who are likely to be coming in to infiltrate into the neighborhood. Now, if there's someone in your neighborhood whose activities you cannot verify, it is best to let the police or the security outfit know that there's someone here, we don't know what the person is doing, and he lives in our neighborhood.
One of the things you mentioned is that you're supposed to know the people who live in your neighborhood,
Yeah.
but oftentimes we've also found that this is not always the experience of many people, especially now that we're living in compounds that have high fences and, everybody's minding their businesses. How would you say that we break these barriers? Should we have deliberate meetings or...
Correct. And that's the word. In our neighborhood, on the Environmental Sanitation Day, we all come out to have a meeting and we do what we have to do. That way you get to know who is living where. But if there is a place where you have a house built and the place is looking desolate, and yet in the middle of the night you hear a vehicle driving and drive out, you got to be suspicious.